So I'm bringing the rest of the team where they're already on, and you can see them. You can see Dr. Lawrence taking his notes, getting ready to attack. I know the budget's it's giving him sleepless nights, as he has given all of us. We've been thinking about whether we should ship all our money back home before the taxes kick in. But welcome to the show today, and today we want to talk about the 2022 budget statement and economic policy of the Republic. Dr. Lawrence, welcome to the show, and Daniel Yao Amposan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Alfred. Yeah. I heard Daniel this morning on the show, so I don't want him to change his mind over here. I recorded everything he said there, so.
If you like, send me the tape. We'll play here against him. So,
yeah, if he changes his mind, then I will send you the tape and then you play.
Okay. Daniel, you heard him. He said we already have tape for you, so say the same things he said earlier.
Thank you, Alfred, and then Dr. Lawrence, and then Mr. How do you pronounce the name? Kosi or Kosi?
Kosi.
Yes, kudos to you on what you're doing. You see, this is what I keep telling people, that until Ghanaians wise up and realize that we do politics for the development and advancement of people. We don't just go voting for people because we just want to vote for them because they come from our hometown. Somebody can come from your hometown and not do anything for you. Right. But he's doing, we need a lot of such groups in different regions to begin to tell our people how to vote and what they should look out for when they are voting and what they should demand from politicians. So I'm really on board with what you're doing. You have my full support. And in my community, I'm doing a similar thing, because we are not just going to sit down there and be like, it's always MPP, always NDC, and then we'll be fooled like that. And constantly we are stuck in the same place for decades. So I'll say keep up. And I like the fact that you've seen where the future is, which is robotics, and you've already taken your people through, that journey. It's very welcoming news that you are helping your community be ahead of the frontiers in terms of technology. And Amuzu, by the way, voter region, sometimes tell me, if you look at every country, there's something that is unique about every region.
Right.
I would say if you want one of the best academicians in Ghana, that part of the region produces a lot of good academicians. I've been with many students that have come from the voter region, and they are always on top. They are always on top, very smart folks. And so I think that robotics thing, I'm not surprised. It's a very fertile place because the kids are very smart. Once given the opportunity, they can be able to take it and run with it. So I'm very much encouraged that he's doing such a thing for the people, and it takes leadership and commitment to do that. So I'll say kudos to him for that initiative.
All right. So
yeah, Alfred, before we start, I'm also the chairman of the Diaspora Progressive Movement, and I would want to make you the financial secretary so you can give me airtime to come and talk about my movement. And as soon as I finish talking about my movement and propagating the good works of NDC and John Mahama, you bring Daniel in to comment on what I have said so that it will be a fair and balanced. Yeah, because he has commented on one voter group, and I want him to comment on the Diaspora Progressive Movement too. And you brought Mr. Kosi on because you are his financial secretary. So I'll make you the financial secretary of the Diaspora Movement. And give me time and also say what I have for the people of Ghana.
Yeah, but before you go, there was one thing that this week I saw and I was really impressed. I think the IGP went to the is it Awumofia? Correct me if I'm wrong. The Awumofia of the voter region. I was really impressed about the beauty of the palace, and the culture that was at display. I watched it the whole time on my phone. I'm like, wow, this is a really nice palace. And for once, I felt like, I needed to be a chief, chief is not something.
No, voter region, we don't want you to be a chief.
Not a voter region. Of course, chieftaincy is clan related.
Yeah, Nanaya Wasari. Nanaya Wasari cannot be a chief of voter region.
No, I can't be a chief. I know. I get that. But
If
But
you are Kosi or Amuzu, we will take you.
I was really impressed.
So we also joined by Paul.
Yeah.
And, Paul, welcome to the show today. I'm sure you've heard. You actually told me in the background that you were enjoying what Mr. Nutstepo said about the voter region and some of the work that the OVG is doing. We are all full of praises for him, so maybe let me give you also the opportunity to say your praises. But before then, everybody knows you already. What has been happening new this week that you want to share before we start the show?
Well, thank you very much, Alfred. And as I told you behind the scene, I was enjoying the conversation we had with Mr. Nutstepo, and that was great insight. And I think, it was a nice interview, and I've learned a lot from him. And I think, voter region and votarians, we all need to come together to build our region. That is what the key is. As much as I've said that.
How often do you go home? You, Paul, this also. Do you visit your people?
I think we talk about that in the end, right?
As much as I've said that, Daniel has started with his propaganda already. He knows we are going to punch him. I'm going to punch him left, right, center, forward.
Let's focus on voter now.
So he started playing mischief and propaganda already. But I am here this afternoon for us to talk about facts, data, nothing else than fact and data, and no throwing of dust into anybody's eyes this afternoon. Thank you.
Right. Well, so the Minister of Finance, as we know, in fulfillment of, is it Act 5? What is that Act number? Well, we know the Minister of Finance went into Parliament, which he has to do annually, to give us an update on our performance for 2021 and also present to us economic policies for the year 2022. And some of these policies are very popular. I've heard so many presentations, discussions. And I'm sure you've also followed the discussions.
Dr. Lawrence, what's your
Okay.
Sorry.
That's fine.
Meet yourself, yeah. So I want us to take to discuss that today. And I want to start from the most popular policies items that actually were announced. The first one.
Before you start, I have a question. Where is Ifa?
I'll get Ifa. Don't worry. Let's start.
Okay.
I'll
tell him I'm waiting for him here. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So on that note, the question I have is some of the most popular ones that we actually were, all talking about in the background is the issue of the E-Levy. The E-Levy being a tax scheme that is being proposed, or a levy that has been proposed for 1.7% on inward remittance, which means anytime we in the United States or in the diaspora send money to Ghana or to our loved ones, that there is a tax of 1.7% on that. Then there is a 1%, there's a Momo transfer. If there's a Momo transfer between people within Ghana, that there is a tax on it. And this we are doing because we are not able to meet our revenue mobilization targets. We are one of the lowest in the sub-region. For a country our size, we should have at least 25% of our GDP collected through taxes. So our tax revenue that we collect every year should be at least 25% of GDP. But we are not. We are cracking about 12%. And so the government roll out all these policies so that we can, generate revenue to do all the things that we want to do, to build a sea defense that we were talking about, to give employment to our youth. The government is saying that this is just part of all the programs that they are rolling out, the digitization program where they are making it easy for people to pay fees in the country, to give youth employment, that even $1 billion from what they are going to be raising from these new taxes will be dedicated towards a program called Youth Starts. So let me stop there and say, Daniel, you speak for the MPP. People are really not happy.
That's an understatement.
Yeah. people are really not happy. I've heard this morning that Fix the Country is going on demonstration for some of the things that are being proposed. And it sounds like especially the E-Levy, it's somehow, I'm feeling it's even illegal to some extent, right? Because there's no economic activity necessarily or productive activity for which tax is being applied in some of these instances. So what is the rationale behind this? I know you are trying to raise money. The vice president, prior to coming into government, said on so many occasions that taxing or increasing taxes is not the best economic policy to have as a country our size, with the resources we have. That productivity and production is where he's going to take this country to. What has changed? Daniel. I think Daniel is frozen. So yeah, Daniel is frozen. So let me ask that question of you, Paul DeSoso, first, and then we'll come to Dr. Lawrence. If Daniel comes back, we'll go to him.
So the question again.
So the question is, Dr. Bawumia has promised that, he's not going to be the one tasking us. People are angry. People are willing to go on demonstration. What is happening here? What has changed in the last 4 years to cause this government to go right back to the things they were criticizing? Because I know ESLA was introduced. Akufo-Addo was the one who led against VAT, which was an indirect tax. They criticized ESLA so much, but now that they're in power, it seems they're going back to the same things they criticized. What has changed?
You see, this shows the hypocrisy. This shows the dishonesty. This shows the untruthfulness of the MPP led by Akufo-Addo and his members. What didn't we hear when they were in opposition in 2015, 2016? We had the most lying vice president ever in the history of Ghana, as we speak, was holding lectures every other month when they were in opposition and talking about the economy. We heard him telling us that when the people of Ghana give them the power, they would turn the economy from taxation economy to production economy. What has happened? We heard him talking about when your economic fundamentals are weak, the dollar will expose you. What has happened? We heard him talking about building, ensuring that every constituency gets $1 million when they come into power. What has happened? He made a lot of promises. Now, the economy has been handed to them. What are we saying? Alfred, in the first place, let's take it one after the other. We all know the level at which the dollar was at the time we handed over to them in 2017, January 7th, 2017. The dollar was around 14 Ghana cedi. Is it 4 Ghana cedi to $1? That was what it was going for. Now, $1 is going for 6.125 to $1. What happened? You see, when you play propaganda and you play mischief with, fundamental issues, it will come out to expose you. And I just want to put on record, and I hope Daniel is listening to me. The MPP getting a GDP growth rate of 7-point-something% in 2017 was not a result of the work they did. It is as a result of the good economic policies that the former administration put in place. Because prior to 2016 election, the World Bank, IMF, and other CSOs have all come out to say that based on the good economic policies that Ghana has put in place, because we went into IMF for economic management, for economic financial management, we are expecting a growth in 2017-2018 because of the way we followed the program that was given to us. So for them to come to power and be, getting GDP of 7.0 and all those things, thinking they are the one who did it, is total a lie. And let's put it on record. Now, at the time that 2016, that all factors were turning against us. Remember, in 2016, we have only one oil field. That is the Kwame Nkrumah. How do you call it? The Kwame Nkrumah. Please help me. The Kwame Nkrumah. You are on mute. You are on mute. The Sankofa, the Kwame Nkrumah Sankofa oil field. That's the only one we had. And let's put it on record that for almost 9 months in 2016, we had equipment that went bad. So for almost 9 months in 2016, Ghana was not producing crude oil, which we were going to sell at the world market. Let's also put it on record this afternoon that in 2016, okay, cocoa prices came down at the world market, gold was down at the world market, crude oil prices also came down at the world market. So all these external factors went against us. In conjunction with that also, we were trying to solve, we were almost done solving doomsday. So, I mean, small scale businesses in 2014, 2015 suffered the impact of doomsday, which replicated into 2016. So with all these factors affecting the economy, the people they called the incompetent people even grew the economy at 3.4% GDP growth rate. Now, in 2020, don't forget, as I was speaking, 2016 was an election year in Ghana. Vis-a-vis 2020 in election year in Ghana, what was the growth rate? 0.9%. And when you talk about it, they will tell you it's due to result of COVID. Now, Mr. Muzo, I think this government is very dishonest. It is on record that in 2016 has been one of the years that GRA, Ghana Revenue Authority, exceeded their target set for them. So for GRA to exceed the target set for them, you are on mute. I cannot hear you. Can you hear me? I can't hear you, Alfred. Should I go on? Yeah. For GRA to exceed their target, revenue target set to them, for them to exceed it.
Yeah.
And also with the World Bank, IMF, Bank of Ghana, and then taking money from the stabilization fund, all this money were withdrawn to support 2020 because of COVID. Right. And for you to turn around and tell us because of COVID, that is why you had a GPT growth rate of 0.9, and you think you want to associate it to COVID. That is a disgrace and a shame to this NPP government.
Okay.
Once again, I want to also put on the record that in 2016, during election year, Ghana's deficit was around 6.4.
Right.
But in 2020, the deficit is 15.6. These are the people who are telling us that they are the better managers of the economy. These are the people who come and throw dust into the eyes of Ghanaians and try to trace fact and data. I was disappointed this week, and I heard one of their communicators, who is an MP, calls himself a doctor, disputing the GRA figure, saying that it is not true that GRA exceeded their target set to them. And it was disappointed that the host of the program did not set the record straight. We have come here,
Daniel, to confirm that for you.
We have come here this afternoon to set the record straight. This MPP government is the most incompetent ever in the history of the Fourth Republic. Okay. Why am I saying so? Everything shows that they have failed miserably. And Alfred, don't forget, in 2016, Ghana was extracting about 70,000 barrels of oil a day. In 2017, 2018, it jumped triple to 200,000 barrels a day because we added 2 more mining sites or 2 more oil field to the one that was existing. And don't forget, as of 2017, the Sankofa oil field that was not working has been brought back into production. The equipment was fixed and we were producing oil. So they have everything at their disposal. And even with all these things at their disposal, they are still not showing any positive growth. And look, when you talk about the banking industry, it grows in the negative. So I don't know what this MPP, super incompetent MPP, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his government, they said they have the men, but we are not seeing anything. Our country, beloved country, Ghana, is retrogressing. And I think that time has come for all of us to speak truth to power. And I hope my good friend, if I will speak the truth today, we have various posts. They told us things in opposition, and the things they told us in opposition, that's the things they are doing today. As we go into the budget, we are going to talk about the money grant, the taxing of transfer money via from one network to other. All those things we'll talk about it. This is be my open statement, and I will listen, and I will allow my colleagues also to contribute. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So the question was actually whether anything changed, because we thought Bawumia promised a lot, prior to coming into government, that, taxing is very inefficient way of running an economy. But we are seeing him do taxes, especially the indirect ones. They've introduced one right like where they did the mid-year review. And right after that is less than 6 months. We have another one on our head, E-Levy in this case. In other words, we moved from COVID levy, the sanitation one they did, and now we are having to deal with E-Levy. What has changed, Daniel? Why have we abandoned the productive economy that we were promised to now one that is strictly focused on taxing in order to increase the revenue envelope?
Can you hear me, Amuzu? Sorry, I have internet issues. Yeah. I heard Paul this so I've been at the very last part, and just tell him to relax. This is governance, time changes, and time changes, new data coming, and this world is now a data-driven world. You just don't take decisions out of the blue or randomly. You have to take decisions guided by data. And so it's that is serious governance. Serious companies, serious countries, serious corporations invest in data, because that is the new gold. Once you have the data, you speak to the data will dictate how policy should be shaped. So he should just relax. There's more that is coming to him, and thankfully he's on today. So Amuzu. Yes, I mean, in economics is an art, and it's also a science. So you sometimes people learn the economics, but the act of doing it is different. That is why two people can sit in the same class, in the same economics class. You give them an economy, and one will do it better, the other will do it the other way around. Why? Because there's an act to it. It's not just the science itself. I mean, and there's
so what is the act in this?
I'm coming there, and then there's yes, as I said, there's a science and there's an act to it. So you have to have a very good blend of both. And sometimes the act comes with experience, and the science comes with data. And anybody can take data, and depending on how they understand the context, they can misinterpret it to suit their circumstances. So having said that, let me go back and say what has changed here. A lot has changed. A lot has changed within the last 5 years. And remember the NDC attempted to tax the Momo sector. And Bawumia, at the time when he was asked, he said he doesn't feel like, taxing that sector was right, because to him, he think that, most people who deal in Momo at the time were the very poor. The very poor people were mostly embracing the Momo. And so going to tax them would be killing that, adoptee, whatever you call it, that early adoption of Momo as a payment platform. And he thought that, no, that platform is a significant platform that we need to allow many people to have confidence, trust, and adopt it. And as we're in that stage, like I tell you, with everything, there is, a growth, maturity, and a declining stage. We are not peaked. We were still doing that. So he thought that doing that would kill people's, move away from.
But he was emphatic. He wasn't even giving it any period. He was saying that it is the wrong thing to do, period. Not to say it was wrong because of where we were in its growth trajectory,
Well, he said that there's a wrong thing, and like I said, time has evolved, data has evolved. So it is only a fool who doesn't change his mind when data evolves and he has new facts and new basis.
Principles shouldn't necessarily change because time
No. Economic principle matures within context. You don't just apply economic principle out of nowhere. They have to apply
demand and supply regardless. This is economic. This is his economic philosophy. He's saying that, and it is still true what he said, though. It's not like what he said.
It's true, but that's what I'm telling you. There's a degree.
Him breaking his own promise to us.
I get that. It's true. Yes, it's true largely. I mean, it's true largely, but I mean, there's a degree. There's a degree to everything. Even in statistics, you have to pick your confidence level. Somebody won 95%, somebody will live with 90%. So there's a degree to everything. You have to define what comfort of confidence level you have to be able to say yes.
Okay, go ahead. Tell us the confidence level for.
So what I'm saying is that at the time, yes, he made that statement, and this was the reason, and it makes sense. I mean, at the time, most people agree with him. Not many people argued about what he was saying, and that is why this is a democracy. Somebody says something, and you have alternative facts. Challenge him to it. At the time, the NDC was in government. Nobody put a gun to them to say stop it. Why didn't they go ahead if they thought what Bamia was saying didn't make sense? They should have just gone ahead and do what they wanted to do, because they own power and they dictate. They have seen the data and they can speak to the data better than Bamia. If Bamia was wrong, prove him he was wrong. So what I'm saying is that now what has changed is that since COVID came, right, the whole world, we've seen the acceleration of, people reliance on technology. That is a fact. It's happened across the board. Companies that were slow in adopting technology have come to realize that, hey, we have to be here on this platform. Otherwise, our business models are going to go away. And Ghana, too, that has helped somehow to accelerate people's adoption of this technology for the convenience, for the ease. And people have come to see the benefits. So over time, the data has grown tremendously on those platforms. The data has grown tremendously on those platforms. And Amuzu, you and I know that technology in economics, we call something elasticity, right? Elastic, inelastic. If something is inelastic, it what means that the tendency for people to get away from that thing, even when you increase the price a little bit, it's not huge. They are still going to be stuck to it. So there's this inelastic, way of on Momo when it comes to people have come to
inelastic demand. Therefore,
exactly. Therefore, pricing it will not necessarily stop many people. It will only slow. It will only slow the rate of adoption, right? Because people will start now. They will pause a little bit and start thinking, "Am I?"
But essentially, it's lazy. That's what we are saying. It's a very lazy.
We'll come to that. Anybody can say anything. When you are in government, you have to find solutions to the problems that you face. So you can sit in opposition and say it's lazy. When you can tell me what you are going to do differently, anybody can say anything. It's lazy. That is fine. I don't have a problem.
I'm using your vice president's words.
That is what I said. The NDC, they have to learn to defend themselves. I'm not always going to defend you. But I said you are lazy and you can't defend yourself at the time. Now you tell me that you said you are lazy. What do you want me to do? I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to move forward to tell you what I think has to be done. So what I'm saying is that, Amuzu, that platform has become a bigger chunk, has taken a bigger chunk of the payment system in our country. It is hugely skewed towards that platform. And like you said, government taxing powers, government can decide to tax any economic activity. And this platform, the other time when we spoke about it, remember Paul Dishoso was talking about government having built that backbone infrastructure, the fiber optic. That is helping these telcos run on the back of that backbone to do what they're able to do now. And government also having created the interoperability platform has contributed to this success.
Oh, he's frozen again. Okay. His boss is here. But before I come to you, let me go to Mr. Kosi Nitapo. Mr. Kosi, you are neutral. You're not supporting. You're not speaking for any political party per se. What is your reaction to the budget, especially the portion that is imposing some 1.7% on transfers going from overseas to the United States, to Ghana?
Okay, thank you very much for bringing me on this budget. In 2014, I moved to Ghana, and I actually went to stay forever. But then, during the 2 years that I was there, I heard the NPP call the NDC using the word incompetent so many times that that word actually lost its meaning. Otherwise, I would have actually used it right now on the NPP. And the first thing I guess I need to say is that I am the chair of the One Voter Group. We are a 501c3 organization. We take no sides, as you said. I am not an MPP. I'm not an ND. I've never been to any party meeting ever. So let me put that out there before I say what I'm going to say. What Mr. Mponsa was just saying, trying so hard to defend the indefensible. It is why partisanship is so horrible. And Ghanaians, let me talk to Ghanaians. In Ghana, or here in the US or in the West, partisanship is almost a luxury, right? The economy is set. It's on autopilot and everything just goes as, the economic activity goes. They just measure, how high, how low, So when Ghanaians, we as Ghanaians, we as Africans actually as a whole, we should really take a different approach to partisanship. This particular E-Levy that is being introduced, it's so asinine, it's so horrible that no NPP person should defend it just because you are an NPP person. It is horrible. So you're going to levy 1.75.
Because they are saying they have a lot of things to do. Especially without raising funds that way, without filling our revenue envelope that way, we would have to go and borrow. So they are saying that they're finding other ways to bring money into the government's coffers so government can take care of. As we speak, by the time we pay interest and pay salaries, we have about 90% of our tax revenue. So we have to increase that tax revenue. Otherwise, we are going to bankrupt the future of our kids. We would saddle them with all these debts in the future. Yeah.
So be it. And by the time I'm done talking, I'm not sure my friend Yawa Mponsa is going to be so liking me. Thanks for the compliments you gave me, though. But the second thing I will say is that the fact that this current administration has borrowed more money than all the previous administrations in the Fourth Republic combined says so much. So the issue about the need to raise money for what? What have they done with all the money that has been borrowed for all these years? That combined is more than all the other 3 or 4 previous administration. That's number one. So if you tell me you need to raise money, you need to raise money to do something for the people. We have not seen that. There is no evidence on the ground that over $300 billion, or whatever the figure is. I don't want to quote it wrong. Has not really anything to show for it. So then that takes me to the next stage. You are going to raise, first of all, there is the illegality of it. Mr. Mponsa, when he was responding, said something very important. By the way, I don't know if any of you know Mr. B.M. Menu. He wrote Economics Made Easy in Ghana. He was my first teacher at Amas in Kumasi. So he taught me a few things about economics. If you are you need to tax economic activity. Economic activity. So if I send money from here to Ghana for my nephew or for my niece to pay her school fees, and you are going to tax that as she takes it out, what economic activity took place there that you are going to tax? So that's wrong. The third important thing is that the whole world is moving from a cash society to a cashless society, right? So the whole online thing, Momo, when I came to Ghana, I have to say, I was very impressed at how almost everybody switched from cash to online transactions. So the fact that you're going to tax this, the first thing that came to my mind was, what am I going to do with the project I'm doing in Ghana? I'm just going to wait for when a friend of mine is traveling to Ghana. I'm going to give them cash to take to my brother to finish the project for me. Everybody is going to evade the online, to try to evade that tax. That's what's going to happen.
The evasion part is not. It's not going to be significant because it's not even bearable for you to invade.
Okay, that's fine.
I mean, a few people might evade, but people are so used to it. It's making life so convenient that the numbers, according to what he's saying, doesn't show that evasion would really impact.
Until you realize how much you are going to be paying on any transfer you make. People are going to find, we are very natural in finding loopholes. Right. That's what we gravitate to. We gravitate to, how can I avoid this? People are going to, I think they underestimated. Thirdly, the black market. The black market is going to boom. Unfortunately, it is going to boom because the tax is not that, it's not, they can find a better way to raise revenue than to, have 3 or 4 different ways of taxing the same money. Okay. Baumia, and by the way, let me just score a cheap shot here. Baumia, who went to Ghana Secondary School. I went to school at the same time as him. I was in St. Charles Secondary School in Tamale. Baumia was in Ghana Secondary School. We both played table tennis for our schools. I met Baumia in a regional competition, and let me just say I kicked his butt. Okay, this guy is so big on his mouth. His mouth is, it started then, it hasn't stopped. And you can see how everything he said has come back to bite him in the butt. Okay. So this issue of this E-Levy, it is not just, it's not just digital. It is on remittances, it's on bank transfers. So yes, they have found a way to close all the loopholes. But let me tell you, you say it's people are not going to work very hard to evade it. I think they are, starting with me, because I don't see why I should send $100, $200 for my nephew or niece to pay school fees, and then you tax me for sending it. Then you tax her for trying to send it to pay for the fees and all the associated 15 different ways you're going to tax it. I think it's just not very well thought through. And then the last thing I will say is that this is obviously budgets are economic proposals, right? It ought not to come, I would have thought they would have done a focus group and run it by them to see how they reacted, right? Before they even introduced it. But they have so be it. They have introduced it. It's going to go to Parliament. Parliament is going to debate it and either approve or reject it. If I were a Ghanaian, and my representative in their right mind actually approves this, they immediately should set themselves up for a primary challenge and defeat, because it makes absolutely no sense.
Amuju, can you hear me? Amuju, you're on mute or
you're on mute.
Yeah, I'm saying that in our backyard, it's hard to actually have people actually mount primary challenges because these campaigns are very expensive. So you see somebody voting against it, but nothing will happen to them. But